We're going to be discussing some iconic collectibles today.
Say that again. It's like iconic.
Iconic. Like Italian iconic. Okay. Well, let's start over again. I didn't like the way I did different addicts either.
I haven't liked the way you've done any of this so far.
I didn't like the way you said, take one.
I don't like your face. Yeah.
I don't like the way you
I
look
don't
at
like
it.
your general attitude. Okay.
Please.
Take 4. Hey everyone, it's Elliot.
And Todd, welcome to Two Designers Walk Into a Bar, an ongoing conversation about pop culture and iconic design.
Today we're digging around in our childhood closets and our mom's attic.
Well, different addicts. We don't have the same mom.
Oh yeah, right.
We're going to be discussing some iconic collectibles today.
First, we suggest you grab your seatbelt and buckle up as we white-knuckle the wheel and talk the fast-paced glitz of Hot Wheels cars.
And then we're going to fight for truth and justice as we get our hands on some highly collectible Mego superhero action figures.
So order up a couple of Caped Crusaders.
Wow, that's a drink? Okay. We're going to be crossing the finish line with all of our super listeners.
Right here in the bar.
And away we go.
Gentlemen, start your engine. All right, Todd, we're back here in the bar. We've brought some iconic toys with us today.
Yes.
Half the people here think we're weird, and the other half of the people are digging in their pockets to get out their money. So where should we start? Should we start with Hot Wheels cars? Do you want to start there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and you know why I would say that is everybody knows what Hot Wheels are, but something tells me there's a really good story behind all this.
Oh, of course. I mean, if this podcast has taught me anything, you're always good to buy me a drink. But if there's two things the podcast has taught me, the second one is every iconic pop culture nugget always has an equally iconic story behind it, right?
There you go. So please, you take the first lap, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the green flag is being waved. So for those of you out there who don't know, Hot Wheels is a brand of toy cars. It's like these scale model metal toy cars that were invented by Mattel, the toy company Mattel. They're still around today. And many automobile manufacturers have licensed their designs to Hot Wheels to make scale models of their cars. And they even allow the use of the original design blueprints and detailing sometimes. Like they'll give the original specs to Hot Wheels. So that's how accurate these things are. And I remember when I was little, I had a bunch of Hot Wheels. And to me, a car was a car was a car when I was, 6 or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. You had a little bit more of an automotive-centric upbringing, I think, than I did. But what was really funny was, so I had, 20 or 30 of these cars scattered around. I was playing with them. And my dad would just come in and pick them up and be like, oh, yeah, this is a Thunderbird. No, yeah, this is an Oldsmobile. And oh, yeah. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I did not understand what different cars were at all.
Were you like, I thought it was a blue. I thought that was a purple.
I think it was just, whatever, station wagon, sedan, or, whatever. Maybe not quite that sophisticated, but it was like big car, smaller car.
Yeah, right.
Van, or whatever. So these die-cast toys were made for children, but they've become popular over the years with adult collectors. Mm-hmm. So fellas, stand back. We get it. You want some of these cars. Wait your turn. Okay. First, let's give a little bit of background here, because I think one of the things we need to do is we need to talk about, what does die-cast mean? I mean, that's not really in toys or in design, or it's just not a word you really hear every day, right? Mm-hmm. So when we say die-cast, basically it's a toy or some other form of collectible model, and it's basically made by pouring molten metal, so liquid metal or plastic, in a mold to produce a specific shape, right? Mm-hmm. And that could be a figure, that could be a car, that could be whatever the mold happens to be. And so specifically the way die-cast cars got started was the concept dates back actually to the early 20th century, so over 100 years ago. So really, it's almost as old as cars themselves.
Yeah, really.
And the first die-cast toys were produced in the 1910s, so, a while ago, 115 plus years ago, by companies like Meccano in the United Kingdom, and they later became famous for their dinky toys. So do you ever have dinky toys? Have you ever heard of dinky toys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, however, there were not automotive manufacturers giving these folks schematics. So let's make that clear. These early models of toys were simple. They were lacking really any detail or precision of today's molding and manufacturing, but they laid the groundwork, right? They created this market and they proved that toy cars would be a thing. All right, let's jump ahead a few decades, Todd. Let's go to what is considered to be the golden age of car collecting.
All right, when is that?
That's the 50s. The 50s through the 70s.
Yep.
So I would argue, in terms of pop culture, the word I would use, or the phrase I would use in addition to golden age, is our wheelhouse.
Hey-o.
So just like the real thing, the post-war era saw a surge in the popularity of die-cast cars as well. We have our street culture episode. We've talked all about the returning GIs and how they were modifying cars. So toy cars were reflecting this aspect of pop culture.
Yep.
So as a result of that, different companies started to come on the scene, and each was bringing their unique contributions. Okay, do you remember a company called Ertl, E-R-T-L, when you were little? You don't remember Ertl?
I don't, no.
Todd, I'm going to throw some shade your way in a minute because there's a
Okay,
distinct
all right.
reason you should. And I
deserve it.
remember, So they were started in 1945, and this was a company, the guy's name was Ertl, the founder, and they were making replica toys of farm equipment.
Okay.
But let's fast forward to the 80s, Todd.
All right.
They had a number of deals, like if you owned a General Lee Matchbox car, little car. I had the whole Dukes of Hazzard Ertl. I had Cooter's truck. I had Daisy's Jeep.
Really?
I had Boss Hogg's Cadillac.
Really?
I had all of this stuff. Yeah, so that was all
You do love
Ertl.
the Dukes of Hazzard.
I do love some Dukes of Hazzard. Well, that was my, Todd, that was my introduction to the South. So, I loved it so much I moved here.
Well, clearly I've got to turn in my Southerner card if I'm not familiar with that.
I know. Well,
that's great.
we can talk about that offline after this.
All right.
But anyway, Knight Rider. So they started to cut deals with a lot of different 70s, 80s shows. They were also making kit. Then, of course, the one that probably is talked about in the same breath as Hot Wheels is Matchbox, right? So Matchbox, the reason it was called that is their cars were actually smaller than they are now. They were more affordable, and they were called that because they could fit in a little box that was the size of roughly a Matchbox. So Matchbox started for children and collectors alike in 1953. And this is one thing that was interesting that I found in my research I was doing, is that I always thought Matchbox was an American company, didn't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
course.
it's
Yeah.
totally ubiquitous. It was actually started also in the United Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
So the UK, man, when it came to little model cars, they were all about it. And that was a company called Lesney, L-E-S-N-E-Y, that was like a portmanteau of the two founders' first names.
Okay.
Now, today, I think it was in the 90s, Mattel scooped up Matchbox. So Matchbox still exists, but actually, it's as if Domino's had bought Pizza Hut, but kept the Pizza Hut name.
There's a monopoly on die-cast cars with Mattel now.
Yeah, or at least sort of like an oligopoly. I don't know, because there's still other companies that are making this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So again, why leave the UK, Todd? I mean, there's another company called Corgi, C-O-R-G-I, like the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the stumpy collie. So they're another company, and they were the ones who introduced the detail that we talked about earlier. And they even had larger scale models. They came on the scene beginning in the mid-50s in 1956. So you had Ertl in 45, Matchbox in 53, and then Corgi on their heels a few years later in 56. And these were the guys who pioneered the inclusion of things like moving parts.
Oh.
So you think about doors that open and hoods that open. That was these guys who introduced all of that.
Okay. Well, now you're starting to get into what I'm familiar with die-cast cars and Hot Wheels. So tell me about Hot Wheels.
I saved the best for last, Todd. Hot Wheels was launched by Mattel in 1968. Basically, the founder he was looking at Barbie and the success of Barbie with Mattel. So this is the late 60s. This is a guy named Elliot Handler, no relation.
Dumb name.
Yeah. So he was looking at the way Barbie was taking off, and he was like, what can we do for guys that would have that same sort of appeal? So Hot Wheels, with everything that we were talking about earlier, you know, Corgi, I would say, probably got the closest to the sexiness of Hot Wheels with like doors opening and hoods opening. But Hot Wheels, they're the ones who brought the flash, right? Because they had vibrant designs, high-speed performance. These things were built to look good, perform well, you know, just like street cars, right?
Yeah.
So Handler wanted to create a new line of cars after seeing his son Kenneth play with Matchbox cars. Unlike Matchbox, which again was focusing on these smaller scale models of real production vehicles, Handler wanted Hot Wheels to be more over the top, more exaggerated, more customized, that hot rod culture that you and I both dig on. So big rear tires, superchargers, flame paint jobs, hood blowers, and just overall outlandish proportions, you know, just cartoonish.
Yeah, we love that, don't we? You know, it was one of our very early episodes we did about street culture and rat rods and things. I mean, like single-digit episode.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. And we'll post a link to that so folks can go back and listen.
Yeah.
So get this. So talking about street culture, talking about Southern California, the original name wasn't Hot Wheels. It was actually California Customs.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But one of the employees of Mattel at the time, I believe it was, he was looking at one of the early prototypes and he's like, man, look at those Hot Wheels. And the name just stuck, right? It was like so perfect.
Oh, okay.
So how did these things get produced? So Handler began working on these cars with the assistance from a fellow toy inventor named Jack Ryan. Not the Jack Ryan from the Tom Clancy novels.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the one I know. So, all right. I was like, wow, Jack Ryan gets around. Okay, so this is a different Jack Ryan. Tell me more about that.
So who is this guy? Just like the Tom Clancy Jack Ryan, this guy should be the subject of his own episode, Todd. Okay, so I'll be really brief with his CV here. So he was a toy designer, an inventor, and an engineer, and he was best known for creating some of the most popular toys of the 20th century. He actually helped with creating Barbie.
Oh, really? Okay.
And in addition to Hot Wheels, he also created Chatty Cathy. You remember that?
Wow, now that's a resume.
Yeah, absolutely. But get this, it gets better. So he went to Yale. He got his engineering degree from Yale, leaves Yale, goes into the aerospace industry, and he was designing missile defense systems and things like this. I mean, it's like crazy stuff. Yeah, he was literally a rocket scientist. And then by the time he died, retired or whatever, he had more than 1,000 patents to his name.
Wow.
But his personal life, you'll love this, his personal life was just as colorful as his professional life. Okay, so among many other things, like I said, we don't have time to get into a lot, but he was married for a time to Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Stop it.
Wait, hold on. He owned this mansion in Bel Air that looked like a castle. I mean, I'm not making this up. And then he didn't build it, but like he happened upon this and he's like, yeah, that's for me. And then he would have these extravagant costume parties with these Hollywood A-listers there. It was crazy.
My gosh, wouldn't that be great to see some photos? Because you know his costumes had to be the badassest of all. Because he was a rocket scientist, toy designer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Oh,
I mean,
man,
Jack Ryan is our hero.
Yeah.
He is a different kind of American hero. So take that, Tom Clancy.
We'll look into this one.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get our research team on it. Okay. So getting back to Hot Wheels. So the flame logo, I would say this is a pretty iconic logo. You could just yank out the name and just have that outline, that red shape, and you immediately know what it's for.
Oh, yeah.
And that was designed by a guy named Rick Irons, who was working at Mattel at the time. And he also was the same dude who figured out the iconic blister pack with a wave on top that mimics the logo, right? And that was to showcase each car on the shelf rather than keep it hidden. Because, like I said earlier, these Matchbox cars, they were inside these little boxes. You couldn't actually see the toy.
That's pretty cool merchandising. So what about the cars themselves? How did they get started?
if you think about the late 60s, there were all kinds of cars by that point, right? It wasn't the teens. So how do you get started? Where does this go? So Mattel first unveiled what are known as the original Sweet 16. You got to love that name.
Oh,
Hot Wheels cars at the 1968 New York Toy Fair. So 11 of the 16 were designed by this guy named Harry Bentley Bradley.
Oh, that's a rich name right there.
It is. With the first one being a dark blue custom Camaro. So you'll love this. They pulled this guy from Detroit. They pulled him from the auto industry. Yeah. But just one problem. But actually, I think this was a bonus for Mattel. He'd actually never designed a fully functioning car. He only created like concept cars for, I believe it was General Motors. And then, you know, those would get distilled down and they would become actual cars. So he did design a Dodge Deora, Deora concept car, but that was the only working car he ever produced.
So how do you build out your resume with that? Like exceptional experience and imagination in car design.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, he was building giant models. So building a 1/64th scale of a car should be like, well, shit, this should be easy for this guy, right?
Perfect.
We got the schematics right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so of the first 16 cars, we talked about this over-the-top nature, some of these things, right?
Yeah.
So 9 of the 16, so a little over 50%, were based on customized version of regular production automobiles of the time. And then 7 were based upon real show cars and cars designed and built for track racing. Okay, Todd, are you sitting down?
I am sitting down, yeah.
One of the original 16, okay, are you holding on to something strong, you know, sturdy?
Yeah.
One of the original 16, the Beatnik Bandit.
Oh, no. Two things that we both love separately.
Todd, I would lie to you about a lot of things, but I would never lie to you about that.
About the Beatnik Bandit. Oh, my.
No,
yeah.
Never.
Can we put a picture of that on our website?
Well, absolutely. I was just going to say you look great tonight. So, like, that is something.
Sorry.
Just to compare and contrast.
Yeah, just to tell. Oh, okay. That's what a lie sounds like. Okay.
Okay, so what were some of the other cars on this list? They had the Eldorado, the Corvette, Mustang, T-Bird, Cougar, Firebird, Barracuda. You get the idea, right?
Yeah,
but I'm not done. I'm not done.
Okay.
All of the cars. Can I interest you in an automobile, Todd? So all of the cars featured, are you ready for this? Spectra Flame paintwork, bearings, redline wheels, and working suspension.
Spectra Flame. Yes. All right. I'm sold. I'll take that and the floor mats.
That's right. And the rust proofing package. So the Spectra Flame paintwork, this metallic paintwork, differentiated these cars tremendously from the drab Matchbox cars, right?
Yeah.
So how did they do this? How did they figure this out? The finishes were achieved by polishing the bare metal of the body shells, kind of like you would with a real car,
right?
Coating them in a clear colored lacquer. And the colors, they had these exotic colors that they featured. You'll love these names. Antifreeze, hot pink, magenta. And because hot pink was considered a girl's color, right? I mean, you think of hot pink and you think of Barbie. It was not used very much on Hot Wheels cars. And for most castings, as a result of that, it's actually the hardest color to find. So today, if you can find a hot pink original Hot Wheels car, multiply the normal collecting price by like 10 times. I mean, it's tremendously valuable. Yeah, they're just so rare.
Keep your eyes open, folks.
In the last 25 years or so, there's been an increase, as you can imagine, in the number of adult collectors. So you have the internet taking off, you have, eBay and everything taking off, just more people with disposable income. I'm sure COVID probably ratcheted that up. You got a lot of people at home sitting on stuff. So Mattel estimates that 41 million kids grew up playing with Hot Wheels cars.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now, the average collector, so I assume this is an adult collector, how many cars? Todd, I will say within 100.
Oh.
Guess how many cars do you think the average Hot Wheel collector has?
Well, let's see. You said you had about 20 or 30.
Yeah.
I probably had about that same number within 100. Makes me think it's going to be a larger number, of course. So I think you're going to give me this one, and I'll say 200. You were giving me a wide
berth
range there. Yeah.
Keep going. Go higher.
Okay, 500.
Tell you what, multiply that by 3.
Really? Like 1,500?
Yeah, the average collector has more than 1,550
Are you shitting me?
No.
Where would you keep all these?
Now you know why mini storage is taking off, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Hey,
yeah.
Todd, you want to come over to my house and see my 1,550 car garage?
Yeah, all right.
However, having said that, we were normal kids, just like kids today. So normal folks between the age of 5 and 15, they typically have about 41 cars. So you and I were right in the sweet spot.
We were
there.
more average then.
Yeah, So there's a whole subculture, as you can imagine, with these 1,550 car people, of collectors, and those folks attend conventions, they read newsletters, connect online through a bunch of websites. I mean, you can only imagine. I mean, we'll put some of this stuff up there, but I mean, it's boiling the ocean. I mean, folks can, everyone has Google. See for yourself. See if you feel we're making this up. So in 2001, roll the clock back, Mattel saw how much collecting was affecting their sales in a good way, and so they put together a website as a way to connect and excite collectors by offering things like limited edition cars, information about upcoming releases and events, chat boards. I mean, you can imagine. So each year they sell memberships to what they call the Red Line Club. So that gives members the opportunity to order additional limited edition cars, as well as having access to areas of the site with information like sneak previews of upcoming cars, right?
Well, that's cool.
So, I mean, if you're a collector, this is pure gold for you, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, really.
And people are collecting everything from just brand new castings to only these red lines and everything in between. And part of the reason, if you think about it, it's a far, far more accessible hobby financially than coin collecting or stamp collecting or vintage toys like Barbies, right? I mean, you could go to your local drugstore now and pick up some Hot Wheels cars.
Yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah, their price point's pretty small for them.
Yeah,
I mean, now, like, I'm sure the hot pink one from the 60s would be expensive, but...
Right, but relatively. Compared to a lot of other toys, it's kind of like the hot dog at Costco, Todd. The price hasn't really changed that much over the years.
All right, well, okay.
But after the cars are no longer available at retail, of course, it becomes a limited edition situation at that point. They can't make everything all the time. Costs can vary significantly, as you can imagine. So a common Hot Wheels car may sell for less than retail if there's a bazillion of them and it's not that desirable. It's like some poop brown Pinto or something. But some of the more difficult cars, like the hot pinks or like some kind of funky tripped out car, to find those, it can be for many hundred or even thousands of dollars. I have a question for you. Okay. So, you said you've had a bunch of Hot Wheels cars over the years. Did you ever flip one over and notice that each car has a date on the bottom of it?
Nah, I never did. I was probably too busy crashing them to even look into that. But
by the time they flipped over, they had burst into flames at that point.
If they flipped over on their own, I might see it.
I was too busy with a hammer. So on the bottom of these Hot Wheels cars, every one of them has a date, and that's the design copyright date. It's not the date they were manufactured. It's when the initial design was made.
The initial die, right?
Yeah. And there are a handful of cases where that actually is not the same as the copyright date of the design for the entire car. But typically, it's the same. So in other words, like if you pick up, and I'm just making this up, a Corvette, and it says copyright 1973, it's probably a 1973 Corvette.
Right.
But real cars, the date is usually the year before the car was first introduced, right? So you know how you could buy like a 2026 model year car in late 2025, that kind of thing.
Just like a real car.
Yeah. But sometimes, occasionally, I think if they roll out the design later in the year, it's actually the same year. But by and large, that's how you can figure out like what the deal is with the design of the car. But here's the other trick. Mattel will reuse many models of Hot Wheels cars. You know, they'll like reintroduce the car as part of their regular offering or replica. So if you pick up a car, like if you find yourself at a thrift store and you're like, oh man, this car says 1968 on the bottom of it, that doesn't mean it was made in 1968. It could have been made in 1968. It could have been made a month ago. Yeah.
So you're just making more fodder for the collectors then, because they're like, it's a 1968 20-year edition or 50-year edition or whatever it is then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could test for lead in the paint or something, right, if you wanted to. I imagine over the years, Spectraflame has phased that part of it out. They probably don't have asbestos interiors either.
Oh, well, sorry, kids, today. You're missing out on all the fun.
Eat these things, put them in your mouth with reckless abandon, I guess.
I mean, absolutely amazing models they made of extravagant and classic cars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know what, Todd? Speaking of the classics, I could really go for another round of cocktails. You know, something old school and fun.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You have any suggestions?
You mean aside from you picking up the tab?
I suggest you keep thinking while I order a couple of Deuce Coupes. You know, I might get you one too.
I was hoping for a better suggestion than that, but oh well. We'll be right back. Hi. We want to take a moment to mention that if you're enjoying this episode, we have an archive of topics ranging from the Olympics to movie posters.
Think Ghostbusters.
Iconic images.
Think Bigfoot.
Punk music.
The Ramones.
Saturday morning cartoons.
The Pink Panther.
And failed products like OK Soda. Visit our website at twodesignerswalkintoabar.com for full episode notes and visuals, the latest blog content, and to sign up for our newsletter.
Follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Find the links on our website or search using the phrase Two Designers Walk Into a Bar.
Most importantly, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more people like you find podcasts like this.
And tell a friend about us. Send them a link to our podcast from your listening platform of choice.
And if you're inclined, buy our merchandise. Stickers, coasters, magnets, t-shirts. We're designers. We make good stuff, and it helps support the show.
Get in touch. Use the contact form on our website or send an email to hello@twodesignerswalkintoabar.com.
We read every message we get. Honest.
And we're available for speaking gigs. Email us to learn more.
Okay, now back to the bar.
All right, Todd, thanks for the round of drinks. You're right. We're both suckers for the classics. And
yeah,
you brought something classic to the bar as well. So why don't you talk a little bit about whatever you have in that shoebox down there?
All right, yeah. I keep them wrapped up in this hermetically sealed shoebox with prime virgin tissue paper wrapped around. Some in the package. Obviously, you're not supposed to do that. Kids, play with your toys, please. No. What I'm talking about is something that you and I, in addition to Hot Wheels, really love, which are action figures, and specifically action figures from the Mego Corporation. Do you remember them? Do you know that name?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, Mego was actually founded in 1954 by a guy named David Abrams, who was originally selling and trading in dime store toys.
This isn't the Zucker brothers. Was David Abrams one of the airplane guys?
I think it wasn't Abrams. I don't know if it was a David, but no, not the same one. But are you trying to get in an airplane plug?
I want to know if they have any airplane action figures, because that'd be pretty amazing.
Something tells me Mego would have. They have everything else.
What does the name mean? What does Mego mean?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. David had, I know of at least two sons. Marty, who I'm going to talk about in a second, took over the company, and he had a younger brother. And his younger brother, when there was an opportunity to go and do and do and go, the little brother would say, Mego, Mego too, Mego too. So that's where it comes from. They
Gotcha.
thought it was cute.
That's fun.
In 1971, they pivoted to licensed action figures under the leadership of David's son, Marty, who just finished business school. And Marty Abrams is known now as the father of action figures. I know you've heard of it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So licenses, tell me a little bit more about that.
So this is really where the organization kind of excelled. They actually, under Marty's leadership, they began acquiring mass licensing rights for pop culture properties. This was before it was even a standard practice to do so, like we see now. If you can believe it or not, there was a time when there weren't as many properties available for toys. And this would end up being the defining edge for Mego.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it makes sense because the summer blockbuster didn't exist yet,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah, I totally get it. So I'm not sure everyone will know the name necessarily. I mean, we talked about sort of where it came from, but the brand, weren't they known for being a little, I'll be kind in my assessment, but I'm going to, maybe the quality wasn't quite where it needed to be.
Yeah. You nailed it. That's why I love Mego action figures. They were the Hanna-Barbera of action figures, man.
Okay, yeah, accurate, right? The tearaway jersey of action figures.
They were, yeah. They created these 8-inch action figures, and that became the industry standard after 1971. And what they did is, you mentioned about die-cast molding earlier.
Yeah.
They would use modular body parts and, pick and choose body parts. That allowed for cost-effective reuse of the molds and some of the clothing, as a matter of fact. So these were not intended to be collectibles back in the day. These were toys you played with, Elliot.
Oh, yeah. You see them all the time at flea markets, yard sales, and they have missing parts. Come to think of it, it's kind of like your cars.
Yeah, my actual car, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about your toy cars.
Oh, you were talking about my Hot Wheels car.
I was talking about your life-size Hot Wheels car.
Yeah. Over the years, I'd collected, as our listeners and you know very well, lots of Batman from the 60s memorabilia, and they had these little parts, gloves and things like that would always be lost. So if you came across one at some random flea market, you would eventually assemble a piece. But their early success was all hinged on that idea of them acquiring all these licenses cheaply and in bulk. So they would go to a property and they would be like, we want to buy all of these, And originally they were offering royalty guarantees with no advance. So, the owner of, let's say DC Comics, owner of Batman would be like, all right, well, no skin off our teeth, so
right,
go for it.
Yeah, it's just sitting around. We're making all the money with it we can. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So, and they also would do international variants, which were sold through partners in some countries, like in Europe and in South America. And sometimes they had unique features or unique packaging, which, of course, those have become highly sought after by collectors as well. And the first collection that they created way back in the early 70s, it was called The World's Greatest Superheroes. And it was a combination of DC properties and Marvel properties.
Really?
Like Batman,
Wow.
Spider-Man, Superman. You couldn't do that today. You wouldn't see both of those on a toy shelf today.
No, certainly not from the same company. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so Superman, Batman. I mean, Todd, I'll bet you had some of those.
Yeah. Well, Star Trek figures came out in 1974, and they were a massive hit, and now are collector legends. And Marty Abrams says they were a gift from the heavens, just like Star Trek was it itself.
Yeah. Gift from the galaxy. Yeah.
And then followed quickly, you're noticing a trend here of randomness. The Wizard of Oz figures, Planet of the Apes, Micronauts. You remember that from 76?
Yeah,
Takara's Microman figures in Japan.
Yeah, everyone had to have some of those in the 70s.
Yeah, yeah. And then celebrities like Sonny, Cher, Muhammad Ali, Kiss, and Farrah Fawcett, man.
There it is. Okay, yeah.
Nailed it.
I mean, that's the Hanna-Barbera aspect of it right there. What's popular at this moment? Let's make a toy of that.
I just imagine, at their Christmas parties, and they're like, well, we'd like to recognize Ray this year for his output in our Farrah Fawcett line and in our Dale Earnhardt line.
You know what? Something makes me think there are some life-size Farrah Fawcett dolls somewhere that some collectors have.
That's a different episode.
Yeah, we can't talk about that now.
That's a different episode. All right. Well, Elliot, a story is not a story unless there's some conflict. And this is the time I'll introduce that, because around the mid-'70s, there was this little Cowboys in Space movie that was coming along. You might have heard of it. It was called The Star Wars or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was one of the original summer blockbusters.
It was, and Mego passed on it. They,
really
notoriously passed on the Star Wars license, which ended up going to Kenner, which everybody knows because everybody had Star Wars action figures from Kenner.
Yeah, I would say Star Wars action figures were the Hot Wheels cars of action figures. I mean, they were in the 70s and the early 80s, they were every place. I mean, every place. You turn on your kitchen faucet and Star Wars action figures would fall out of them. I mean, it was bonkers.
Yeah. Marty Abrams was just, he admits, like, this was, one of our biggest boss. He met with George Lucas and he was like, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. But
well, hell, half the actors in the movie when it was being made didn't get it. So I can totally understand.
Yeah. So this is a move that a lot of people cite as being the beginning of Mego's downfall. Some other little interesting tidbits. You probably have not heard of the Elastic Heroes series. This was Mego's failed attempt to compete with Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah, I remember Stretch Armstrong. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Elastic Heroes came in easy-to-tear figures that leaked out goo all over the place.
So guess what? My brother and I actually had some of those.
No, you didn't.
And we tore the living shit out of them once we figured out. Oh yeah. That was the joy. Like at first, imagine being a little kid and you're doing what you're supposed to do with this thing and you stretch it and then it just like a, I don't even know, like a melted crayon or something. It just kind of like, it just like taffy or something, and it just like is in two pieces.
Keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, at first you're like, oh no, like I ruined this thing, right? And then after that you're like, awesome, right? Your brain kind of shifts gears, and you're like, man, I could tear this whole thing apart. Yeah. I wish I could remember what they were, but yeah, my brother, who was an inveterate, any toy, anything, he had to have it. And good, bad, or otherwise, it generally crossed our transom. And that was one of the things I remember. You could go to wherever, a toy store, and pick these things up. And yeah, they would like pull apart like chewing gum or something after you'd been taking it out of your mouth and stretching it. Yeah, it was crazy. Basically, you could stretch them once and they never stretched back. like they got the first half of it right, but then it never dawned on them that the figures needed to become normal again.
That was like an aftermarket toy. Once you stretch and broke it, then maybe that was like, you should have had that with your Easy Bake Oven or something like that. Right. It was, get heat it up and get it back to where it used to be. Fill it with brownie mix.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mentioned Mego was starting to sort of trip a little bit back in the mid-'70s due to overexpansion of their line. Rising production costs, of course, gets all of us. Too many licenses and an embezzlement scandal that led to the company's financial collapse.
As if they didn't have enough. Okay, tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, well, the chief financial officer was tucking away about $1.5 million for himself, and he ended up being convicted and going to jail. But Mego ended up filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1982.
It's not like this cat just had all the money buried in a box in his backyard. Right. He was spending. He had a boat. He had whatever. Yeah.
So, like with the troubles they were having and then filing for bankruptcy, and I'm sure their friends at Kenner were drinking champagne out of their Darth Vader helmets. They would call them up and probably were having a little bit too hard of a time hearing them because of all the celebration.
My guess is they probably also had to call collect.
Yeah. Yes. Because Mego, just to put a period on it, was based in New York City, and you said Kenner is from your home state.
Yeah, yep. Cincinnati from Ohio. Yep. Mm-hmm.
There you go, Ohio. Well, okay, so Marty, in sort of a sanguine just approach here to the company, said we were the Beatles of toys, but by the time punk rock came around, we were still playing bubblegum.
That's amazing. I love that.
I know. This guy is like a pop culture genius. Anyway, Mego's peak years, they peaked like 77 to 79, just like me, by the way.
Yeah, downhill slide after that for both you and
after
Mego.
79, yeah, that's right.
The 80s weren't kind to any of us, Todd.
That's right. No, they were not.
Not to disco.
Or fashion or hairstyles. All right, let me get back on topic here because we could talk about that for a while. At that time, the 77, 79, their peak period, they owned about 70% of the action figure market in the U.S.
Holy smokes.
I mean, there was Kenner, who I guess had the other
But still, that wasn't
30%.
even... I mean, today you say 70s action figures, and the first thing that pops into my head is Kenner.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
they own the
that's
history,
amazing.
right?
Wow. So they basically had it and gave it away.
Yeah, that little Cowboys in Space movie just didn't get it. But there's a happy ending here.
Oh, I love a happy ending. Are we still talking about the podcast?
Well, we're talking about Mego specifically.
Oh, okay.
And we're not talking about the Farrah Fawcett dolls.
We're not talking about Kung Fu Grip.
No. So Mego was actually revived in 2018 with Marty Abrams returning as the head and partnering with retailers Target and Walmart. So you can find Mego toys in the toy aisles. And they re-released these retro-styled figures, both old and new licenses, including horror and icons from television and sports and DC heroes and even the Brady Bunch, Elliot.
Rocky, Lord of the Rings. They have Pennywise, the Headless Horseman. they have all kinds. I mean, it's
like, a party.
Yeah, it really. I mean, it's just a mishmash.
That's why I love them.
Just nonsense.
It's great.
Jailhouse Rock Elvis. Do you have that one?
No, I don't.
Nosferatu. But then they also have a glow-in-the-dark Dracula. This is great.
Yeah, okay. But here's the funny part. On their website, what is Nosferatu beside? Like, is it other horror legends or is it like Tootie from The Facts of Life?
Oh, no. He's wedged between the werewolf and Frankenstein.
Okay, so he's with his own kind.
Well, but I mean, on that same page, you have the Wicked Witch and Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. And like I said, you have Jailhouse Rock Elvis.
Yeah.
So funny. And to put a contemporary twist on this, apparently they have the guys who star on the TV show Impractical Jokers.
Yes.
And one of them looks to be, I guess they're all in costumes. One is dressed like a genie. And one is dressed in some, I don't know if it's like a turkey outfit or something. Like, I don't even there's some things about this that are just total non sequiturs on this.
That's why I love it.
It's a one company flea market.
Yeah, it is. And they release things in waves. So if you happen to go to their website, just for kicks, click on under Meet the Figures, Wave 1, and you'll see Norm from Cheers, Action Jackson,
oh man,
Tulu from Star Trek, Tootie from The Facts of Life, and Batman, all like standing together, all in their little party.
I definitely need to get Action Jackson. I love Action Jackson.
Well, we could go on and on about the randomness of the Mego.
Do they have any?
It's legend.
Yeah, Alice from the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, right next door to Action Jackson and Batman. You know,
that
I just
doesn't
like
look. That's not like action. I don't know what that is. Action Jackson's just some dude. I thought it was like Carl Weathers, Action Jackson, like the movie.
That's a later one. I think there was an earlier Action Jackson.
Yeah,
too,
well, that's
like
what I'm seeing. Because I mean, Yeah, I don't think, I mean, this guy's wearing a removable jumpsuit and boots. So this is very this seems to be landing firmly in the $6 million man, Enter the Dragon kind of era, right? That's what this looks like to me.
All right. Let me close with a game for you, Elliot. So,
right, hit me.
1971 to 1982, that was their major lifespan. It's estimated in that time that Mego sold over 50 million action figures globally.
Okay.
Let me give you a couple. Superman,
Sure.
Spider-Man, Batman, and the Gorn from Star Trek. Can you tell me two things? Which one is the most popular and which one is the most valuable today? These were all early 70s.
Yeah.
Not re-releases.
You know what, Todd? As much as you love Batman,
Yes, I do.
I'm going to have to say, in terms of the most popular, well,
The best selling before they came back.
Yeah. I'm going to say, you know what? I was going to say Superman just because he's Superman. Mm-hmm. And I love the Spider-Man cartoon from the late 60s. But I'm going to say, I think just because of Adam West and everything, I think it was Batman.
That would be a great choice. But no, Spider-Man is their best-selling figure of all time.
Okay.
And then, there's some reasons probably behind that. The costume was bright. It was accessible to everybody. But
did he stick to the wall? Like if you threw him at the wall, would he stick to it?
No, that would be your elastic heroes after you tore the arm.
Yeah. Or at least a portion of them.
Right. All right. So what is the most valuable?
I'm going to say, so there was one I left off the list on purpose. And I would say the Gorn.
You're right.
Yeah. And the reason, so my logic there is that's not the most mainstream thing. I mean, that's not, they probably didn't make as many as they made of the other three.
Correct.
And also I could see Star Trek people totally nerding out about that.
Correct. Yeah. So everybody would get a Spock and a Kirk action figure, but they didn't make as many of the Gorn. And over time, obviously, the Gorn has developed this mythology, within the Star Trek world. So, yeah, if you can find one, folks, between that period, 71 to 82, snatch it up.
Do you have a Gorn?
I don't. No, I don't. I have a handful of Mego figures, and they're all in the Batman universe, all the villains and the,
okay.
The good guys.
All right. Well, all this talk about superheroes, all this talk about the Gorn, this really has me thinking.
Oh, well, about what?
You think there's a drink called the Gorn?
I know one thing that's Gorn.
Well, what's that?
All my cash for this tab. I'm out of money and we're out of time, dude.
And I'm out of here.
Oh.
See you next time, everyone.